Okay, so what if I told you that enlightenment isn't some far-off final destination you have to struggle to reach? What if it's actually a momentary experience, something you can touch right here and now? That is the profound idea we're going to unpack today, all through a really beautiful Sinhala song called Hata Ganimaka Niwana, which translates to Nibbana in an arising. This song is basically a map of a spiritual journey, what it calls the way of the inner mind.
This song kicks off with this very curious line, not going, not coming. Now, this has nothing to do with physically moving around. It's describing a state of mind, one that is completely settled, present, and just abiding. You can almost picture the mind finally taking its seat, you know? It's done with the restlessness. It's here, and it's ready for the deep work that's about to begin.
So our journey begins with a very simple, very powerful image, a falling flower. This is our starting point. This is where we find the practitioner with a mind that's patient and observant, but definitely still on the path, still figuring things out.
And here is that central image that really gets the whole journey going. The practitioner is just watching a single Ihala flower as it detaches and falls to the ground. But they're not just seeing an end or something dying. In that one moment, they see its entire existence, the whole movement of arising, peaking, and then dissolving, all of it, in one incredibly detailed, granular flash.
This song really breaks this down for us. This observation of impermanence isn't some vague philosophical concept. It's a direct moment-to-moment perception. It's seeing the full cycle, the arising of the bud, the peaking of the bloom, and the dissolving as it falls. You're witnessing change literally as it happens.
But even with this really profound insight, a doubt creeps in. The practitioner starts to wonder, is there no fruit in this? And here's the subtle trap they've noticed. While they aren't clinging to the flower out there in the world, they realize they're still subtly clinging to the thoughts about the flower right as they pop up in their own mind.
And then, just at that moment, a sound cuts through everything. It's the temple bell, the gantare. Now this isn't just some background noise, it's a real turning point in this journey towards stillness.
You see, the bell isn't a command telling the mind what to do. It's more like a reminder. It triggers this memory of a time, just before the big Vasak festival, when the whole community was meditating together. They created this shared field of quiet. And the memory of that powerful collective stillness starts to pull the practitioner's mind back toward that same cooling experience. And this brings us right to the heart of the song's message about Nibbana. It's not a final destination, it's not some state you achieve and then you're done. It's a momentary cooling that can happen at any time. It's that split second, that one moment of consciousness where wisdom actively replaces a mental habit, a defilement like clinging or greed. It's an instant of release. Now here's a fascinating little twist the song gives us. A lyric says, "Through the mind I grow." And conventionally, that sounds great, right? It sounds like self-improvement. But from the view of ultimate reality, it's the exact opposite. The I that you think is growing is actually the misperception that's dissolving. So the real growth here is the loosening of that rigid sense of me, which was never really solid in the first place.
Okay, this next part dives into one of the most subtle and I think one of the most powerful insights in the entire song. It's about how even our most positive, most wholesome states of mind can actually become a veil that hides liberation if we're not really, really careful. So the practitioner is thinking about extending loving kindness or metta out to the world, but a warning comes up. There's no fruit in this if you're still clinging, and the clinging here is unbelievably subtle. You're not clinging to the act of love itself, but to the pleasant flavor, the rasaya of the experience. You're clinging to how good it felt to be so loving.
And this is just a brilliant illustration of tanha, or craving. It's not some huge, dramatic desire. The song paints it as this very subtle lean or pull of the mind. It's that tiny little impulse to want to repeat a pleasant feeling you just had. That microscopic mental movement, the song says, is the cover over Nibbana. It's what seals off the possibility of that cooling.
So how does this cooling actually happen mechanically? Well, first, a thought comes up that would normally have some clinging or lobha attached to it. But then, and this is the key, in that exact same moment, wisdom or panya actively arises instead. And the result? Cooling. It's so important to get this. It's not about removing or suppressing the thought. It's about replacing the unhealthy reaction with a wise one right at the source.
And now we get to the song's climax. The whole scene shifts. We move from the inner world of meditation to the bustling outer world. And this creates this powerful, vivid contrast that's going to lead to the final realization.
Picture it. It's New Year's morning. The world of ordinary folks is at its absolute peak. It's festive. It's active. It's just dense what the song calls loudly clinging mental formations. And right through the middle of all this walks the monk, a son who is renounced. The contrast couldn't be more stark. The world's mind is turned up to 11, while his own mind is quietly, gently thinning.
So what does it even mean for these mental formations, these sankharas, to be thinning? Well, sankharas are basically the volitional constructions of our mind, the stories, the opinions, the judgments we build. Thinning doesn't mean they're physically shrinking. It means that as wisdom grows, the frequency and the intensity of these constructions just naturally decrease. The grip of ignorance loosens, so the mind just doesn't feel the compulsion to build so much stuff all the time.
And it's in this moment, walking through the busy village, that the transformation finally clicks. That lyric from before, "Through the mind I grow," it shifts. It becomes, "Through the mind I am cooled." The whole purpose of the journey changes. It's no longer about building up a self. It's about experiencing this profound release.
So let's just take a step back and trace this entire arc of the journey, this way of the inner mind, that takes us from the idea of growth to the experience of cooling.
It all starts with really seeing impermanence in something as simple as a falling flower. Then, a temple bell sparks a memory of collective stillness, which shows the way forward. The practitioner then discovers the real obstacle, that incredibly subtle clinging, not to things, but to the flavor of experience. The breakthrough finally comes with the realization that cooling is what happens when wisdom replaces that clinging moment by moment. And this process culminates in the very idea of a solid self, just thinning out and dissolving.
And this leads us to the song's most beautiful and empowering conclusion. The mind that was searching so hard for cooling, that was looking for nibbana, was never actually missing anything. It was always already capable of this release. Liberation isn't some prize you win at the end of a long race. It is an inherent potential that exists within every single moment.
So I'll leave you with the same question that the song leaves us with. If this profound cooling is simply a matter of wisdom replacing that subtle lean of clinging, right in this very moment, then where else could you possibly find it but right here, right now?